We have a special series of podcasts coming up. This is number 2. Crystal is going to share a little bit with us about the journey of what it took to have her find what it means to have a purposeful life.
I guess that big goal of mine that I was very driven towards was the Olympics. I grew up with a genetic advantage that got me the nickname Quadzilla. I say it's a genetic advantage because having strong leg muscles was really good for the sport of speed skating. And so I entered into a very competitive sport of speed skating. I got to excel very quickly in the sport. And long story short, when I moved to Calgary, where the National Training Center is and the fastest ice in the world, the summer after I moved there, in a matter of 3 days, I lost feeling from my chest to my toes. I lost bladder control and developed double vision, and literally went from one of the top speed skaters in Canada to not walking in 3 days. I'm a teenager at the time, and I had this Olympic dream, and now I'm being told that I have multiple sclerosis and that I'll never speed skate again. Now, thankfully, I was still a teenager, and I say thankfully because up until that point, I hadn't really dealt with a whole lot of adversity, so not speed skating was so not a part of my reality that I genuinely didn't believe my doctors when they said that to me. It was just a matter of not if, but when I was going to get back to skating. So I got to utilize the resources I had on the national team to relearn how to walk, relearn how to bike, and eventually skate again. And I remember racing my first competition, and the crowd went wild. They were excited to see me back. And I remember crying myself to sleep that night because my times were now so sucky compared to before I was sick. And I wake up the next morning and the entire left side of my body went numb. And that's when it's really hit me, okay, I'm not this invincible teenager. I really do have this serious disease, and I've got to do absolutely everything I can to get back skating. My neurologist said, I'm sorry, Crystal, it looks like your disease is progressing, and you should be prepared for the reality that you could be in a wheelchair in the next couple of years, and we highly recommend much more aggressive drug treatment plan. Started listing the side effects, which sounded worse than the disease itself. So I made the decision to go off all of my drugs and really take my non-pharmaceutical, unconventional approach to just the next level so that I could get back skating. 8 months later, I came just a few spots off the Canadian Olympic team, and 9 years later is now. I'm not in a wheelchair like I was predicted to be in, and not only that, but I am flourishing with great health and have been for the last 9 years. The dream is just as big, if not bigger, and so to be driving towards that and reaching it in certain parts has been really cool. I think that we're all gifted with certain strengths in this world, and when you do have a good understanding of who you are, what your values are, and what you're trying to achieve, and then you also are realistic about what am I good at and what do I love doing, and then what am I terrible at and don't love doing. And so it's not a matter of, you don't want to grow and learn and develop into, areas that you're maybe not as gifted, but I think that you have gifts for a reason, and the more you play those and focus on your strengths as opposed to just trying to make up for quote unquote weaknesses, I think that you're gonna have a much easier way to find your path. The best thing ever for any athlete is once you realize that you have translational skills that you developed in sport that are really, really valuable in other parts of your life. And when you figure out that that power that you have, your confidence is built, and you can start dreaming just like you did for the Olympics about other things in life, because you talk to someone who's going for the Olympics and it's sort of like, how dare you say there's anything like the Olympics, because that's really like you're so tunnel vision, it's all you know. It has something to do with, again, playing your strengths, so understanding, I might not have PhD in neuroscience, but I have these other strengths that could actually be applicable to neuroscience. And I guess at the conference you'll hear more about why on earth a speed skater is talking about neuroscience. But that's my whole world now.
In January, as I've mentioned a few times here, the first ever Day on Purpose conference will be happening here in Calgary. A Day on Purpose is bringing together a fantastic community of speakers and presenters, as you've listened to today, people like you and me at various stages of uncovering their own purpose. It will be a day of stories and discovery that will work to make a very high level and at times hard to understand topic relatable and uncomplicated. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss this insight.